Hi Taylor, I've got your question here, number 23. All right, so we have $2,500 being invested at 3.75% per year, but it's compounded semi-annually. So in the first part, the equation to represent the amount A in dollars after T years is A equals P, which stands for the principal, times 1 plus okay, I'm going to start with the general form. Okay, so 1 plus I to the exponent n. Okay, so for the specific question and information that we've got here, the equation is A equals 2,500, because that's what you're starting with, and then plus, or 1 plus the interest rate. Now, the interest rate would be 3.75 per year, but every 6 months, if it's semi-annual, it's going to be half of that. So it adds up to 375 by the end of the year, 3.75. So half of that is 1.875, I think. And so that's what we're going to put here is 0.01875 for your interest rate. And I just changed it from a percent to a decimal by dividing it by 100. The same thing for n. After t years, okay, it doesn't tell us how long it's in there for. After t years, we would multiply t by 2 because we're getting paid interest twice a year. So whatever t is, we would double it. Like if it's 5 years, we would have 10 compounding periods. And so that's what the general formula would look like for this information. So, excuse me, B. How long will it take for the investment to double? So if it doubles, that means that the amount that we have now is 5,000, and we started with 2,500. And we know this part of the equation, and we can write that as 1.01875 instead of having to write the plus, and then it's to the exponent 2t. So if we rearrange the equation, I'm going to bring the 2,500 over to the other side and divide, so I'll end up with 2, and that's because we're doubling the amount. And that equals 1.01875 all to the 2t. So now we're trying to solve for an exponent, and that's where logs come in. So I want to take the logs of both sides. So if I take log of 2 on the left side, then the way I take a log of the right-hand side is I bring the exponent down in front, so I have 2t, log 1.01875, like that. Okay, so 2t now is going to be the log of 2 divided by the log of 1.01875. Now, we have put these into base 10 logs because we took the logs of both sides, so that means that your calculator log button will give us the values that we want because that's the base 10 log button. So if you just type in log 2 divided by log 1.01875, you will get a value of 2.39. And so what that means is that 2t equals 2.39. So t equals 2.39 divided by 2, which is 1.195. That doesn't make sense, does it? Because that means after 1 year it would double. Okay, that doesn't make sense because you can't double your money at 3% in 1 year. So you know what I did wrong is when I typed in log of 2 divided by log of 1.0 or 1.01875, I forgot to put a bracket around the first one. So I just fixed that, and log of 2 divided by log of 1.01875 is actually not that, is actually 37.4. So if I divide that by 2, I'm going to get a completely different answer, which is 18.7 years, which makes a lot more sense at that interest rate. The rule of thumb, when you're doing a problem like this, there's called a rule of 72. And what the rule of 72 is if you take 72 and divide by the interest rate, it'll tell you roughly how many years it takes for an investment to double. So let me just start a new page here. If our interest rate is 3.75, then I'm going to take 72 divided by 3.75, and that's going to give me 72 divided by 3.75, 19.2. So that's pretty close to what we got. We got 18 point something, I think, on the other page there. And it's just ballpark. It just gives you a really close estimate of approximately how long it will take your investment to double. It doesn't take into account the compounding semi-annually or anything like that, so it's going to be a little bit off. But that's a good rule of thumb just in terms of asking yourself if your answer seems reasonable before you hand in a test question or something like that on this. So I hope that helps. Sorry for the mistake I made there. And send me any more questions you have, okay?